Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Linda B Show. Have you ever wondered why dating has changed so much over the years? We're going to be talking about traditional dating versus today's dating. Is there a clash in culture? We're going to be talking about that today on the Linda B Show. Welcome back, everyone. It's me, Linda B, talking about dating and how it has changed over the decades. And today, I have joining me is a very special guest. She has joined me on my show before. Here we have Celeste Duffy. Welcome. Welcome
Thank
back.
you, Linda. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome, guys. I just told Celeste that she is always welcome to come on the show, and you definitely are. We've talked about a multitude of different things, but today we're talking about, is traditional dating dead? The clash of culture and religion. I meant to say that in my intro, the clash of culture and religion. So there's a clash going on, the whole traditional dating scene. But what do you say? What is the first thing that pops to your mind before I get further into this, guys? Don't forget to smash like, comment, share, subscribe, hit all notifications, make sure that you watch the video to the end. And also you can check out Celeste Duffy on her channel, Celeste_Duffy on YouTube. And I have the link in the description. So Celeste, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of, is traditional dating dead, the clash of culture and religion?
So I wouldn't say that it's dead. I would say that actually traditional dating, and I think we actually call that courtship, is
Mhm.
having a bit of a resurgence.
Okay.
I think that courtship, which is inextricably linked to marriage, is
Mhm.
definitely having a little bit of a resurgence. So you have it exactly right. That right now what we are going through is a clash. It
Mhm.
is the traditional and the values of traditional courtship that are now being highlighted against or being looked at against traditional what we call in contemporary like hookup culture. So
Yeah.
you've kind of got courtship on one side, and then you've got hookup culture on the other side, which is sort of in the vein of do what you want.
Mhm.
It's your body, it's your choice.
Mhm.
Everybody can do what they want to do. There are no particular rules. You make them up as you go along. Each individual couple can decide the rules for themselves. And unfortunately, we've done this long enough. I mean, this is truly an outgrowth of the free love and free sex movement of the 1960s.
Mhm.
So we've had enough time now that we can look at these cultural ideas and we can see how they manifest in the society and what the outcomes are. And from what we can tell, many of the outcomes are not good.
Mm-mm. No, I can tell that, I'm one of those people that for some reason thoughts come to my mind. And for years and years, I've said, gosh, it looks like things changed after the 60s. For some reason, I would just be walking around in my house thinking, why are things this way? And I do remember Woodstock,
Mhm.
make love, not war. People were just really engaging in this group sex thing, and people were experimenting with their bodies with the same sex. I mean, there was like a lot of that going on during that time period. And then, you saw it in the entertainment, you heard it in the music, and it was more subtle at the beginning. Then as rap evolved, I mean, this rap culture, it has gotten extremely explicit.
Mhm.
So I see that the culture is promoting, I'm a woman, I can do what I want with my body. But to your point, you brought up there is a resurgence in traditional. I sometimes watch this show called Pop the Balloon, right? And the women are saying some of the same things, and men are saying the same thing. The women want a masculine man that can lead, and the men want a feminine woman that will let him lead.
Mhm.
They are wanting the things that sound very traditional, even though you would look at them and you would probably judge them another way based on how they're dressed, because how they're dressed is not how they used to dress in the 1950s. Okay.
Mhm.
But they're wanting the same thing. They want marriage. They want an intentional. This is not just to be having fun. This is dating with a purpose.
Mhm.
This is they say they want a family. They want children. I've yet to hear anybody on that show say they just don't ever want to get married and never want to have children. I've not heard that. So.
I think that you've got to look at it and see that these are the kids, some of them multi-generational kids of divorce, of single parent families, and of all types of family constructions that are in some cases pathological.
Mhm.
So and I mean pathological in the sense that they are deviation from the norm,
Mhm.
not pathological in that I'm
Right.
judging them,
Right.
but in the fact that they're a deviation from, say, the standard nuclear family.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and a lot of those people have been able to see their moms, maybe even their grandmoms, in these types of relationships, maybe living with a man for 20, 30 years.
Mhm.
Once they divorced the father, and a lot of these children now are saying, I want a different situation for myself and
Mhm.
for the children I would like to eventually have. I want to raise them differently than how I was raised. I want the security of that nuclear family, and I want to be able to provide that security to my future children. So
Mhm.
I do think, like I say, I think there is a resurgence. I think the
Mhm.
pendulum is swinging, and this is not to say everybody's on board.
Of
Um,
course.
you know what I mean? Some
They're
people,
not gonna all be on board.
I'm not saying everybody's on board, but what it is doing is it's forcing a public conversation that
Mhm.
we have not had as of late about what are our values. Is marriage a good thing? Who does marriage benefit? What is marriage for? How are children in marriage? Are they, how do they progress and develop inside a marriage versus outside of a marriage? And what's happening is it's making the hookup culture side,
Mhm.
it's shining a light on that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So a lot of those people are having a difficult time defending this idea of, it doesn't matter, I can just do what I want whenever
Right.
I want with whomever I want. That's getting more and more difficult to defend, because you've got too many people who lived inside of the situations that behavior creates, and they're not happy with it. They feel like they could have done better, that things would have gone better for them had they been in a more traditional setting growing up.
And I think, the culture sometimes, promotes this kind of free love, do as you want. You, like I said, you see it in movies and music, and they make it seem like everybody's having a good time. But in reality, the reality is it can leave, I believe, people feeling empty, unfulfilled, because the relationships are shallow and based on the superficial. They're based on things that are not long lasting, or that really feel you in a spiritual way. Because I look at a good marriage as something that is ordained by God, if God ordained that marriage, and you guys complement each other, and it's a friendship, is it's a lot of things. And I feel like when people don't have that, they're just kind of living their life. I don't think they're really happy. I don't think they're fulfilled. And at some point, they're going to, unless they just always going to be the old man at the club. But in any event, most people are going to get to that point where they say, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. This is meaningless. You don't have anybody to, they're just living, hopping from one bed to the next.
Well, you
And
know what? And the truth of all this is that th- this is largely built on the big lie.
mhm,
And the big lie is that it's going to go equally for women as it is for men. And that is not true.
Mm-mm.
That is absolutely untrue. And the sad part of this is a lot of women get to a place in their life where they realize they have wasted their their time when they're most fertile, most attractive to a man,
Mm-hmm.
most all of able and capable of securing that relation, funning it around, fool la la it away. And then when they get serious and they grow up a little bit and they've had a few of these hard knocks, and they say, look, okay, I don't, I'm going to leave this type of guy alone, and I'm going to get serious, and I'm going to do all that. Unfortunately, your pool of people to pick from in your ability to secure that relationship may have passed you by, or is certainly much more difficult, because we don't, and this is really a failure in the society, and I understand it, because the society does not have an interest in explaining the difference between men and women. They don't want to tell men about women, and they don't want to tell women about men. So the fact of the matter is, women need to know, look, I may think I am attractive, I might think I'm good looking. If I can, Linda, I want to tell you a story. I
Mm-hmm.
used to work with a guy who I'm friends with. I'm still friends with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we worked together, and he was looking at a picture of a woman, and she was an okay, looking woman. And he was talking with another guy, and they were saying, is she good looking, and all of this. And I said, well, I was like, she's okay, she's nothing wrong, but and I said, well, do you think she's prettier than Halle Berry?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yes,
Mm-hmm.
she's younger.
Oh.
And it was the first time that I had realized that attractiveness for men is evolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
It is not that for women.
Mm.
What makes a woman attractive to a man is something that communicates to him in an evolutionary way. And the
What do you mean
younger
by that? What do you mean evolutionary way?
so men are attracted to women who, all right, so let me roll back a little bit. If you look at the history of humanity,
Uh-huh.
most of the history of humanity is is about people living on the planet
Mm-hmm.
between war and famine.
Okay.
It has only been recently that we've had, quote, civilized society,
Mm-hmm.
where we're organized in communities and in government, and there are laws and rules that that guide our conduct and behavior. Most of human time on earth has not been that way.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's scarce food, and what little food you have to be able to go to war for at any moment, because the next starving neighboring tribe is going to try to walk over and take your food. What
Mm-hmm.
became attractive, who was fine in those days, who was a dime in those days, is somebody, a woman, who was healthy enough to look like she could carry a baby to term, because most people died of starvation, or they were killed in violent activities as a result of war. So survival is what made you look attractive. So being young enough and healthy enough to carry a baby, that evolutionary instinct is still inside of men.
Mm.
So men always find younger women attractive, because younger women are better able to to successfully bring a child into the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that is when he said that, and he said, yeah, she's prettier than, and she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
In my objective reality as a woman, no. But in his evolution, of course she's prettier, she's younger.
Mm-hmm.
And
How young did she look? When did he say this? How long ago was this?
no, this was like maybe 4 years ago.
So
And
Halle Berry was in her earlier 50s back then.
right, all right. So Halle Berry in her early 50s, and this girl that he was talking about may have been late 20s, early 30s.
Okay, so there was a big age
So
difference.
there was an age difference. But to me, Halle Berry was
Hmm.
the prettier woman.
But
But
men are attracted to, youth.
absolutely.
Um, they want someone who looks, I don't know, just fresher, tighter, younger.
It's evolutionary. I'm telling
Yes,
you, it's
yes,
it's
I
in
noticed that.
their brain is wired in an evolutionary way
Hmm.
that tells them to be attracted to the one who's most likely able to successfully carry your seed.
Hmm.
So that's why younger women are always more attractive to men. I mean,
And see,
in general,
women seem to be opposite. Like they'll get, an older man, and for them, it might be more of a security issue. Might be more of a security issue, because we tend not to care so much as much. I didn't say not at all, but as much about him having to be so young looking. We tend to maybe want him to be a few years older. We don't mind that so much. And I think it's like the maturity level that women have. But back to the dating part of it, I know that back in the day, we'll just say the 1950s, that men were the ones that pursued the women, right?
mhm.
They were the ones that asked the woman on the date. They were the ones that paid for it. Now I think it looks like people are okay with going Dutch. In some instances, some women are like, "No, you got to pay for everything." But how do you see that difference playing out in how people are approached, how they approach each other?
Well, so let me say this. And this may also be, I guess, in everyone's age and generation,
Okay.
sort of plays a part into their perspective.
Okay.
I still think men ask women out.
Oh, of course.
Now, what I do think is different is it used to be where a man could walk up to you cold, see you across a room, and just walk over to you and say, "Hi, my name is, and may I, have your number or contact you again? I'd like to take you out." Da 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 da. That used to be the case. Now it seems more in group settings. So
Mhm.
men and women, maybe they're in organizations when the friends of a friend, and you're in a group setting and the person gets comfortable with you. And usually once they get comfortable with you, then
Mhm.
they'll, I don't know that they're doing as much walking across the room in a cold setting, which is actually sad to me because what that says to me is men are not as confident today as they used to be. The one
I
thing,
like that idea of a man walking across the room because
absolutely.
he's so captivated by you, and Lord, and we got our own idea of what handsome is, but mine is tall, broad shoulders, athletic build, deep voice, low cut. I don't like much hair on his head, but low cut, no earrings for me. I don't like all that stuff. No grills, just your
Mhm.
teeth
Oh God.
and nice teeth
Mhm.
and a deep voice. He said, "Excuse me," and you'll be like, "What?" Yeah, it might make you do start batting your lashes. But I
Mhm.
like that idea. It seems so romantic. All those old movies have that. But yeah,
I like it because I like the confidence factor.
yes, the
Like, to
confidence.
me, what's impressive is that you were able to do it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I would have a problem with a man who I thought didn't have enough enough of himself that
Mhm,
he could walk over and say, "Hey, listen, hi,
mhm.
my name is," like that would bother me if I knew that were true about a man.
Oh, wow. See, I don't think I'm just
I don't
thinking
like
about that.
unconfident men.
Yeah, a lot of women, one of the things that keeps coming up on dating shows is they want confidence. The
Absolutely.
men want confidence from the woman and the woman want confidence from the man. They don't want the person coming off like they're not sure of who they are, and they're just like kind of timid. And it's really unattractive in a man because I have a very old school view of men. Like I like masculinity.
Mhm.
I don't want him to be too, I don't know, metrosexual, or I don't know what term I want to use.
Mhm.
I just want you to be masculine, okay?
Mhm.
And I want you to be able to lead and take care of business. And even if I do something like try to walk over him in a, not in a mean way, but in an authoritative way, I'm even attracted to men saying, whoa, 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 what is this all about? Why would you even talk to me like that?
Mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
I'm a man, I'm a grown man. You don't talk to me like, I'm okay with that. That's attractive to me. Some other women may not like that, but I'm cool with it.
Well, and you actually need that in a partner. You know,
Hmm.
one of the reasons, and I joke about this, um, that married men live longer, but also the benefits that marriage gives a woman is that you actually have to have somebody who checks you. And I think about that when I think about the old, if you remember the old Cosby Show episodes,
Hmm.
when Claire was always trying to tell Cliff about his eating,
Oh yeah,
how
he would
he
like to eat hoagies with
yes, he
beer.
wasn't eating enough vegetables and his food was never when she added a good 10, 15 years onto his life, in the show. But it's important because everybody left to your own devices would absolutely do wrong. So
Hmm.
having somebody that you bump up against a
Hmm.
little bit who kind of says, no, 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 let's get this back in the middle. You're swerving a little bit to the side.
That's a good
That's a
thing.
very good thing to have in your life.
Hmm. And some people don't, they may not appreciate that, but I appreciate that.
Mm.
So one of the things I noticed is that a long time ago, it seems like people had very little intimacy in their relationships. You know, there was not a whole lot of, you know, a whole lot of intimacy until like later, until you know that this person is the one that you're going to marry. Do you feel like there's still maybe too much intimacy? It just seems like back then it was very little intimacy until marriage. But now it's like people are, they're getting back to it a little bit, like to your point that you said earlier, because I feel like they're seeing that doesn't work. But you still have the other crowd that still does a lot of intimacy right off the bat. So do you feel like it's getting more traditional or still more worldly?
So I think that's a little bit 50-50. Okay. So there are some things that are just facts. And
Mhm,
the fact is, the sooner you are intimate, particularly sexual, with a partner, the less likely you are to have a significant and lasting relationship.
mhm,
That's just a fact.
mhm.
These people can put anything in they want in a movie. They can romanticize all of their TV shows, and the music can
I
rah
know the
rah
music playing in the background.
all the way they want to. But the facts are simply this: the sooner you become intimate, the less significant and the less likely the relationship will be to last. Now, the problem with that comes in a couple of situations. The problem with that comes mostly for women
Mhm,
because men don't necessarily need to have all of their relationships be significant and last, because a man, like you said, is the one that drives the relationship. How do you know men drive relationships? Because men ask you to marry them. They
mhm,
ask you to be their girlfriend.
mm,
They ask you to do. So they are the movers. They are the generators of a relationship.
mhm.
So they don't have to have that. However, women who are operating on a time clock, whether you like that or not, it is true. I can't change biology for your feelings. I'm
Right.
sorry. It is true. So the fact is that the women, when they're young, don't realize that the time that you're spending full out lying and being somebody's plaything, which is very unlikely to upset you and to hurt you, and that all that stuff's gonna hurt your feelings in 5 minutes anyway. But it's also what it's doing is it's actually making it more difficult for you to then be in a significant and lasting relationship.
Mhm,
So the hookup culture people, like I said in the beginning,
mhm,
oftentimes they grow up, they learn the error of their ways, they want to change. I absolutely believe women should have the right to do that, and I'm sad that we live in a society that deceives us and tricks us in the way that it does, that doesn't tell us, in a very short period of time, you're going to find out that this was not what you really wanted. This is not what you want for the rest of your life. And when you do identify what you want for the rest of your life, you are going to have made some decisions that's going to make it very difficult to get that. I
Because
think that happens to women.
yeah, and hopefully they grow up, when they're real young and fertile. You know what I mean?
Many don't.
I know they don't, but many don't. Many don't. But I would hope they would hurry up, because you just got to realize we're not going to be young forever. You may change your mind. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
And let me say this: there's another dynamic that is the third rail in all this that isn't really being talked about that much, but I think it's true, and that is there are women, and I could say I know them. They're okay with the fact that they're never going to get married and have children.
Mm-hmm.
They're absolutely okay with that. They
Mm-hmm.
are okay with the fact that they've dedicated themselves to their careers. They
Mm-hmm.
have built a life that they're very happy with,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to live that life, and they're okay with that. It's not bothering them at all. And
Mm-hmm.
so the people who say, "Oh, well, you're going to find yourself alone and you're going to be devastated," and I'm not sure that that's true for everyone.
I don't think it's true for everyone. I definitely think that there are some people who are content with, they're content with that. But I think for some people, they sometimes have regrets that they wish they had of, done that. You
I
know, like, yeah. Some
I
people.
think there are some that have regrets. I think there are some that are like, I
Mhm,
mean, if you, I have, and I'm thinking of some people that I know,
mhm,
and if you were to ask them, they've made amazing achievements
mhm,
in their life. I mean, they're doing extremely well, and
mhm,
they have really made some, fantastic achievements. And if you were to ask them, would you rather have this or a husband? They will tell you, no, I'd still pick this.
okay.
They
Yeah.
would still they still will pick that.
I mean, people are different, they just different. One of the things I noticed with people that are religious, that are more religious, that are, they want to wait until they are married before they have sex. And I'm thinking about someone in particular, and it seems like it's hard for this person. This is a female in her mid 20s that is seemingly having a difficult time with getting someone who loves the Lord the way they do. Do you feel like sometimes it can be a little bit more challenging when you are one of those sold out Christians that love the Lord and you want to be equally yoked? Do you feel that sometimes that can be a little bit harder for people?
I think relationships are hard.
Mhm.
I don't I think anybody who wants one, it's a difficult thing, and it should be. It's
Mhm.
not something that should be easy. It shouldn't be like, "Oh, no problem, I'll get one tomorrow." No, they're difficult. A good, real, solid, honest relationship that has the ability to last
Mhm.
into the future, hopefully a lifetime, is
Mhm.
not something that should be easy to get. So it's not
Mhm.
easy to get.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't matter what it is. It could be whether or not you are looking for someone who has is from the same background, or
Mhm.
if you're looking for someone who shares your religious convictions, or if you talk to anybody who's trying to date, it doesn't matter what their reason is, all of them are finding a hard time dating. Now, here's the funny thing, and let this be a little tip to those of you out there who are trying to date. You're not going to believe me, but if you're looking for someone and you're having a difficult time, the first thing you should do is stop looking.
That's
Stop
going to be hard. Now, that's going to be hard. That's going to be hard now,
looking.
because the person that I am thinking of right now desperately wanted to be married already.
Those are the ones that are having the hard time.
Because they are looking at their parents, and their parents were married by the age that this person already is, and they admire their parents greatly. They have a wonderful relationship, but they want their they is and I told the mother of this person, I said, when she stops focusing on it and just be content in her singleness and be happy in her singleness,
Somebody
that
will show up.
it'll more than likely happen. But when you're rushing it or pushing for it, it's not the best thing to do. Because it might just be a test from the Lord. I want to see if you're where your focus is. Do you love that? You want that more, or do you want me more? That's how I look at things. And I've been in that situation before, but I was like, I want to get married. I want to get, you got to get to the point where you're happy in your singleness.
That
Happy.
desperate energy does nothing but push potential suitors away.
And it also can make you pick the wrong one.
Yeah.
You could be so desperate, you can put up with things that you should not put up with. I mean, there are red flags, and some things, you might be nitpicking, maybe they're not neat enough. Okay. But then the other stuff like are real red flags, and you might be so wanting to get married so much that you just toss it away, and don't really take heed to those red flags. I tell anyone, pray for wisdom. If you're a Christian, pray for wisdom and just be patient. Try to be patient and be happy where you are. Be happy where you are, because sometimes being happy where you are will attract people to you.
It absolutely attracts people to you. Absolutely. I'm telling you, when I say that desperate energy, I'm not even talking about anything that anybody can see or anything that you're doing. I'm talking about, if think about it, if it is true that 90% of all communication is nonverbal, that means that you are in a conversation. You are mostly in a conversation that you can't hear. And your nonverbal conversation, you've got to ask yourself, your nonverbal conversation is not attractive.
Okay.
It's not attractive.
Because if you're really desperate, you might be asking the wrong things or bringing up conversation too soon on the first couple of dates.
It's just everything about you. A person in their nonverbal conversation, they're going to get all that. They're not even going to know why. They're going to say things like, I don't know, it just seems like, they're not going to even be able to really articulate why they believe about you, what they believe, but they are going to it is going to be a nonverbal conversation, and they're going to say, this is it's not going to be attractive. People think that the interactions they're having are the face-to-face things that are actually going on.
Right.
Now, I always think of conversation as double dutch. There are two ropes swinging at the same time. One is the verbal conversation, but equally swinging in that is a nonverbal conversation that both people are reading, but they may not be able to consciously understand.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, yes. So what advice? Well, I think we've already given our advice.
Well, nobody should take advice from me. I'll start with that. I am not the one to, necessarily take advice from, other than I think that people should certainly, and particularly if they're Christian, you have a pathway. You already have a way to understand this. You have a guidebook upon which to build and live your life. And in that guidebook, you have to accept that which the Lord gives you. And if the Lord sees fit for you to have a helpmate, for you to have a wife, we know for a man, the Bible clearly says that a man who findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And I wrote a lot in my book about why that is true for men. And if you notice, the Bible does not necessarily say that about women. It does not. It specifically says that about men.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be the one finding. We're not supposed to be the one they're supposed to be the one looking for and finding, and we're supposed to be found, I guess. We're supposed to be found.
Yeah.
So I think the best advice I can give to anyone is to be patient and be happy in your singleness, and work on yourself. If you notice there are things about yourself, you want to be content within yourself, because like we said, that nonverbal energy of
Mhm.
desperation is going to turn a lot of people off. You got to be happy in your singleness. That is very attractive. That attracts people. Like, you're confident, you're happy, you know what you want. You don't have to have anything right now. You just content with where you are. That is a good place to be. And I know it's hard when you really want something and you don't feel like things are moving fast enough. But the best thing you can do is just be happy and content where you are.
So I took a trading class, and I'm going to let this be my advice. I took a trading class, stock trading class, and
Mhm.
my teacher, not just mine, but for the class, used to, when we started to, one of the things that's you've got to sort of get a strategy about is when to enter a trade and when to exit a trade. So even, because most people, because you'll see 5 trades and miss them
Mhm.
because you didn't know when exactly you should get in and when exactly, you should get out. And one of the things that the teacher, I mean, he said it over and over and over and over again. He was like, never, ever, ever jump into a trade. He was like, sit back and let the trade come to you. There
Mm.
is a trade that's for you, and you will see it. Sit back and let it come to you. Don't go out looking for a trade.
Mm.
Just be available so that when the trade comes to you, then you act on it. And it's not going to be the same one, that person sitting next to you. They're going to see something else. They're going to do some. That's not for you to worry about. You need to sit back and let the trade come to you. And there are many things in life that operate under that same tendency. And I would say the same for those people who are truly seeking a significant, lasting, and purposeful relationship. Let it come to you.
Mm. That would be nice. And you just got to be willing to accept what comes. Sometimes we want things that really aren't good for us.
Yes,
We got to also realize that God will send you what you need. Okay, what you absolutely need.
amen.
But I just thank you so much for coming on my show today, Celeste.
I'm so happy to be back.
I know, right? My girl's been traveling, y'all. She's been
Mhm.
traveling.
Mhm. Well,
But thank you so much. I really
thank you,
appreciate it.
and please ask me again. I love to come back.
Oh, absolutely. And don't forget, you all, Celeste_Duffy, and the link will be in the description. Thanks for joining me today. We'll talk soon. All right, everyone, that's it for today's show. Don't forget to smash like, comment, share, subscribe, hit all notifications. You all be blessed, and until next time.